2. You didn't stay there long enough. Good morning, Magic players and collectors of all kinds. Welcome back to the channel. You see the box, you know what day it is. Well, not what day, obviously, because I keep switching the day up on you guys. But what time it is? It's time for another episode of 1, 2, 100. I did not get the fingers on the camera whatsoever. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 100. Eventually, I will figure out a way to put 100 fingers on here. I keep saying that, but I have no idea how I'd ever do that, to be honest, at this point. Today we're just going to start off the next deck. Mainly for 2 reasons. One, I've realized in hindsight that I probably should have done these decks in reverse. Because the idea of doing the winter-based deck with all the snowlands and stuff was to try and get our minds off the heat. Which, the heat is still here, but it's not crazy bad, at least this week. It wasn't. I think the highest we got up to was around 30, which is bad, don't get me wrong, but the days that we were over 35, 36 was disgusting. So I am content to be 30 and below. Never thought I'd see the day I'd say that. But, yeah. I should have done this one first, though, and done the Marina deck that we just finished second, since that one's more horror-based, and it would have led us into a Halloween theme. But hindsight is what it is. I believe they say it's 2020, but it seems like that seems a little bit off to me. Anywho, I am at home, and my dad just went out to do some shopping, so I thought I'd get this video done with you guys super quick, because this one is not going to be a long one. And, I'm going to get you guys a little bit of Kaiba footage before we get started. And speaking of Kaiba footage, what I thought I would do to make this one an interesting series is, at the end of each of these videos, I'm going to tack on a tiny bit of Kaiba winter footage. Let's see, where are you, buddy? Where did you go hiding? Oh, having some water. That's Papa's good boy. He was a thirsty boy, eh? Do you need more? Yeah, your water bowl's looking pretty low. Let Daddy get you some more water. Give us a quick little dab of dish soap and clean it up first for you. And then I will dry that off length with a paper towel because all the towels are in the laundry right now. And then I will get you some fresh water. So as I was saying, what I thought I would do for this series in particular, as like an extra little special treat for you guys, is at the end of each of these videos, I'm going to put in some footage of Kaiba from previous winters, whether it be just the winter past. A lot of you were here for that one, so you'll see some stuff that you've probably already seen. Or it might be stuff, I was thinking about putting together like a slideshow of photos from Kaiba's first few winters, whatever photos I have of those. I will admit my ex was the one who did a lot more photography stuff at the beginning of our relationship than I was, so I don't know how many photos of him as a baby in the winter I have, but I will look and see. But I thought that would make it really extra special, this deck, which I'm actually really excited about this one. This is one that I think I would probably end up playing quite a bit. Because I've always wanted to do something with snow permanents since I started getting them back in the way before times when I first actually started collecting magic cards. I, Yeah, where'd you go? You're at the back door, aren't you? Yes, you are. Okay, you have a little lay down. Guy's gonna go finish his video. Yeah, so, I think my first snow permanent I got back when I first started playing in university, so I've never really had the call to use them though, because they didn't have a lot of snowlands. And even right now, I don't have very many snowlands, so that's what's going to make this deck a little bit challenging. But my goal is to actually build a deck that can be somewhat viable, running snowlands and other types of stuff, and combine that with another archetype to make it a very interesting but functional deck. So, crack this. That's just a sleeve. We'll get these guys out. So the one in our 1 to 100 is Jorn, God of Winter. Might be pronounced Jorn. I'm going to go with Jorn. I think it's a Nordic card. So Jorn, God of Winter. And so whenever Jorn attacks, untap each snow permanent you control. That would include himself. So that's pretty good. Basically, it's a good way to get a whole bunch of extra creatures to untap and be available for blocks. It'll untap all my snowlands, and a couple other things possibly on the board too. So I'm pretty stoked with that. But what makes this a really fun deck is I don't actually have to play it as a mono green deck. I get to play it as a 3-color deck with black and blue as well. Because on the other side of him is this really cool artifact that, for 1, a blue and a black, you can put into play and tap it to play target snow permanent card from your graveyard this turn. If you do, it enters the battlefield tapped. So to play it, I'm pretty sure you're going to have to cast it. I don't think you can just, put it into play, per se. Although if a snowland goes to the graveyard, I think I can get that back using this. But, yeah, still a pretty cool card. And definitely a fun commander to build around. However, the original snow commander I wanted to actually build around was Narfi, Betrayer King. So this is going to be the 2 in our 1 to 100, because I'm definitely including him no matter what. 3, a blue and a black. He is a little expensive again to play, but all my other snow and zombie creatures get +1/+1. So he won't give himself +1/+1, but he will give my commander +1/+1, making him a 4/4. And in addition to that, I can tap any 3 snow mana to return him from my graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So it's actually better if I can put him into the graveyard rather than pay his regular mana cost, and then just tap 3 snowlands, and I can play him, but he will enter the battlefield tapped. However, he still will give his buff that turn to everything, so that's not a bad thing. And so I really like that because he can keep bringing himself back. I'm calling this deck Winter is Coming, and this is like the Night King from Game of Thrones, if you ever read the books or watched the series. And those are the first 2 cards in our 1 to 100. I'm just going to tilt that down so you can actually see them. But I do have our lands picked out already. Now, I have picked out 38 lands, and I am considering cutting it back to 35 if need be. Simply because I don't know how many cards I'm going to put in of each archetype. What I'd like to do is I'd like to put in another 20 snow permanents, so maybe snow creatures, enchantments, artifacts, whatever, and another 20 zombie-related permanents, and then I'd like to have 20 cards of interaction. So basically, the deck would be 40, including lands plus these 2, and then 20 snow permanents, 20 zombie-related permanents, and then 20 cards of interaction, black, blue, and green, are going to give me some pretty decent instants and sorceries to play with. So I figured that's a fairly solid deck breakup. Pretty even and consistent, and there will be some crossover between some of the zombies and some of the snow permanents, which I'm going to count those as extra to whichever category I decide along the way, but it's probably going to be leaning more towards, if it is a snow and a zombie, it will count as a zombie first. because I really want to include as many snow permanents as possible. And I know I have quite a few cards that have snow-related things, so I'm pretty stoked about building this one. And I think this is one that I'll actually play, whereas Marina, until probably next year when I can afford more sleeves, I'm probably not going to play. The Gates deck, chances are I might unsleeve that one for this, to be honest, because this is going to be a lot of fun to play. Anywho, and I already have like 4 other landfall decks. Let's get into the lands for this one, though. So, first off, I'm going to actually back this up a little bit. There we go. I have a Terramorphic Expanse, and I have an Evolving Wilds. I don't normally include these cards in a lot of decks for the main reason simply that all they'll fetch me is a basic, and I don't like that. However, what's really nice about Snowlands, I'm just going to find one snow-covered swamp to show you, is they count as a basic snowland. So I think, I didn't get a chance to check this out on the internet, and it's going to be something I'll check after I post this video and then let you guys know next time. But I think that these two can fetch the snowlands, and if they can, that is phenomenal, because the snowlands are going to be some of the things that are going to be the hardest things to pull out of this deck, and I'm going to need them in order to play cards like Narfi, sorry. I keep wanting to call it Nefari, but it's actually Narfi. Anywho, so we got those two. We've got an Opulent Palace, which I thought was kind of perfect because we've got a king, so he needs a place to live, and a god. Place to worship. Taps for green, blue, or black. Enters battlefield tap. That's a downside, but whatever. We've got an Exotic Orchard, which is going to let me tap for anything that an opponent controls. And we've got a Shimmerdrift Veil, which is a snowland that actually taps to add 1 mana of the chosen color. I get to pick whatever color I want this to be as it comes into play. Chances are I'm going to pick this to be green, simply because I only have 1 snow forest. I have 1 snow forest, 2 snow swamps, and 2 snow mountain islands. Sorry. Unfortunately, I do not have any snow doubles that go in these 3 colors. I actually have 3 snow doubles. There's a green-white one, a red-white one, and what was the other one? I think it's a green-red, if I remember correctly. This land enters tapped and you gain a life. We got Dismal Backwater, a Thornwood Falls, and a Jungle Hollow. These are the 3 that I'm probably most likely going to be removing from the deck if I need extra space for cards. I just put these in for now because I figured we should have more lands than not. But like I say, I want to be able to search for the snowlands, and I don't know if I can. And if I can't, then there's a good chance that I'm going to cut these 3 for sure, and probably those 2 as well, which will help me get my lands base down some, and maybe I can get some cards that will help me fetch snowlands somehow, some way into the deck. But like I said, I'm pretty sure that these will fetch snowlands, because they count as basics. So chances are, if I go down to 35 lands, it'll just be these 3 that get cut. If I go down to, if I cut all 5 of those, there's a good chance that I'll put in 2 Scrylands in there or something to help me get to the snowlands better. Snow-covered swamp, a full art one, and a regular one that I just showed you. Both are very beautiful. I love the art on the snow-covered lands. I think they're some of my favorite lands. And then I've got some regular swamps. Basically, I did 10 of each basic, and then 7 that aren't basics. There's our snow-covered island full art. That is probably my favorite snowland of the ones that I own. And that one's just a regular snowland that is an island. Then we got our regular islands. And then we have a full art snow forest, which, to be honest, is cute, but it's probably not my favorite one. I think it's because it's too, it feels very plain and almost washed out in the artwork. I apologize to the artist, I don't mean to be rude to them. Titus Lunter. I'm not trying to be, mean to you, I think it's the way it was printed, to be honest, onto this card. It just feels a little bit washed out compared to the other full arts. You look at that one, the coloring on that one's gorgeous. Even the coloring on that one, you can see it kind of wash out a little bit there, but like the main body of the art is really nicely lit up, and I think that gives it the effect that you need. Did he do all three? Because that'd be kind of funny. He did do all three. So yeah, I don't know why. I think it's just the way it was printed, but this is my least favorite of the three full arts, which is sad because I love forests. Forests are some of my absolute favorite lands. I think that they do the best job with the forests out of all the lands, in my opinion, in Magic. Come at me if you like islands better. Come at me! But anyways, that's all I've got for you for episode 1 of this new deck. Next time, I'm going to gather all the snow permanents, and we're going to go through them and figure out which ones we're going to pick and which ones we will set aside. And then we will do the zombie core after that. And then we will finish up this deck with the interactions. So I'm expecting this one to just be a 4-week series, provided that I can do all the episodes in a timely manner and they don't go insanely long. But, yeah. And now I'm going to end this and send you to some beautiful Kaiba snow footage. So, much love to you all from Kaiba the Pug who's downstairs, and myself to you, take care. Enjoy your dreams of winter, my friends. Bye. Kaiba! I love you, Kaiba. You're so silly.